Hi everyone, it's Laurie. I hope this video finds you well and happy and healthy wherever you are in the world today. I am going to be continuing on with Ethany's 31 Days of Tarot. I'm going to do a bunch in a row in this video. So I'm going to start with prompt number 5, the tarot card that stalked you in 2017. I'm super glad to have my turmeric tea back. I was complaining about that in a recent video. This is Numi brand turmeric, and it's the 3 roots tea, which has turmeric, ginger, and another root I can't remember. But it's delicious for warding off like allergies and little colds and bugs and all the junk that happens at this time of year. So I really like to have turmeric around. So I had 2 cards that stalked me in 2017, one that pretty much stalked me through the whole of the 2017, and then a different one that started showing up at the end. The card that stalked me through most of 2017 was the Hanged Man. And this card stalked me so hard that it even showed up in readings that other people gave me. Stalker card, I feel like, shows up for a reason. And it's usually because I'm missing something. There's something I'm not understanding or integrating the way I'm supposed to be. So for me, it's a little bit like if you have a computer, you need to update Adobe, or Java or something like that, right? And you get the little reminder that pops up and it says, would you like to update the latest version of Java now, right? And you always click no, update later, at least I do. Then that's why Stalker card has to keep popping back up again, because you're not updating, you're not integrating. I'm not integrating whatever it is. So I decided to spend some time looking at what the Hanged Man means, and it actually has a lot of different kind of meanings. And so this is from the Wild Unknown. It's often about being stalled or waiting or being in suspension, and that's very much how I was feeling at the time. Last year was a time of waiting for me. I ended up closing my business that I had had for many years, and that was difficult for me. And I had joint replacement surgery, which involved many months of healing in a cast, and then physical therapy and things like that. And then I had another medical situation come up for me again in September, which involved a lot of waiting and testing and trying things, and that's just about resolved. It's kind of in a nice place right now. It was a year of being in suspension, but I was understanding that, right? So why was it still coming up? So I kept looking at some other meanings behind the Hanged Man. For instance, this is from Pagan Otherworlds. My video response, hashtag 22faves, as being one of my favorite Hanged Man cards. If it isn't based upon, it's highly influenced by a famous painting called, I believe it's called The Martyrdom of Saint Sebastian. If you look it up, I might pop a picture in here. You can't miss the similarity. Saint Sebastian with his head like this. He's upwards tied to a tree. Saint Sebastian is in the painting, whereas the Hanged Man is upside down. And the reason that Saint Sebastian is believed to have been martyred is potentially for his faith, or as a Christian martyr, a saint. Potentially it may have been because he was gay. And he's seen as a kind of a patron saint, if you will, I don't know, of the LGBT community. So in this case, this Hanged Man is hanging upside down against his will. It's because of something, a way he already sees things, or a way that he already is, because he sees things differently. I hope that makes sense. And so I kind of started exploring this idea of getting a new perspective. This is from the Gaian Tarot. The woman in this Hanged Man, it's called the Tree. She's purposefully hanging upside down, so she wasn't forcibly hanged upside down because she's different. She seeks to be different, so she hangs upside down so that she can gain a new perspective. This was quite meaningful to me. During the summer, I love to swim. I used to be a competitive swimmer, and I really love it. And we have a swimming pool in our backyard. We didn't have a ton of good weather, but when we did, I loved to be out there in the pool kind of floating around. And one of the things that I found myself doing was, tipping my head like all the way back, so that as I'm floating around the pool, I'm seeing the trees and the fence and the neighbor's house and all the things. I'm seeing them all upside down. And it occurred to me as I was floating there like that, upside down, that I was literally the Hanged Man floating around in the pool upside down like that, seeing everything from a different perspective. And so I started trying to think about how I could embrace this concept of potentially hanging upside down to gain a new perspective or a new vision. In fact, the Vision Quest tarot, the Hanged Man, is actually called the Vision Quest. So the purpose of this is to actually find something that you didn't have before, see something that you couldn't see before. And so one of the things I did as I was in the pool is I kind of embraced this idea of hanging upside down until I saw what I was supposed to see. Summer turned into autumn, and I started having a new set of these health issues that I had mentioned earlier. The Hanged Man stopped showing up for me, and instead wands started turning up for me. I don't get a lot of wands cards. I get a lot of pentacles cards, but I'm not particularly a wandsy person. I mean, I really haven't kind of cultivated that aspect of my personality at all. But wands started turning up. In the past, when I did get wands, it was usually the 10 of wands, like, you're doing all the things, put the wands down, you know, kind of the martyrdom card. But I started getting Queen of Wands. I don't think of myself as a Queen of Wands at all. And this is another beautiful Queen of Wands that I was getting a lot toward the end of 2017. This is from the Tarot of Prague. So the wands then have kind of moved with me into 2018, and I'm continuing to get the Queen of Wands as my Stalker card. So I kind of look forward to seeing what's going to happen there. I really, really wanted the Japaritza Tarot. It was on my Christmas wish list on Amazon, and I didn't get it. Nobody bought it for me. And I finally decided to go ahead and pick it up for myself because I had some of my Amazon cashback points, and picked up the Japaritza Tarot, and I just got it like maybe last week. I like to go through books and kind of like write my own notes and highlight things, and sometimes I'll end up making my own little cheat sheets for decks. And if you have the Japaritza Tarot, you already know what I'm talking about. And I pulled this card, and the Hanged Man in the Japaritza Tarot is actually called the Drowned. That's me. In the swimming pool, looking at the world upside down. And so here's what I read. The Hanged Man in most tarot decks is depicted as a cross-legged figure suspended upside down by one foot, representing surrender to a higher level of existence or the attainment of wisdom. But the artist, Nino Japaritza, her alternate vision finds this drowned person immersed in water, symbolizing the unconscious and portraying a calm, peaceful acceptance of this flood of consciousness. This idea expands upon the previous card's strength, which was concerned with the exercise of control. This card considers how the relinquishment of control or surrender may be an essential step on the path to enlightenment. And I kind of felt like that was a really interesting closure to my experience with the Hanged Man. It's creepy, huh? And weird and cool. That's why I love tarot. Prop number 6, the deck I finally crossed off my wish list in 2017. The Bohemian Gothic. If you haven't seen it, you might want to see my little short opening of when I unboxed the Bohemian Gothic. I was like just a little kid. It was so funny. So I really love this deck. It's been, oh, the Queen of Wands. So she's following me. Next up is going to be my most worked deck in 2017 and why, and we're going to be switching views for that. So see you on the flip side. So now I'm going to talk about the decks that I used the most in 2017. So if we're talking about tarot, there are probably 2 decks that I used the most. And I use them so often, actually, that I keep them in bags instead of in their boxes. Although I don't think this one actually has a box. And this one I already showed. It's my lovely Aquarian Tarot. And there's the Queen of Rods. That's nice. Oh, there's the 4 rods. Are these in order? Nope. Just happened that way. Okay. I wouldn't call it my hug deck. I would almost call this my little black dress deck. So, in other words, a little black dress is what a lot of women will have, because it's just the perfect dress for any kind of situation that they might find themselves in. If they have to go to dinner, if they have to go to a meeting, if they want to go on a date, it's a dress. It's a dress that you can dress up or dress down, and you know you look great in it, and you know it's going to be appropriate, and you just that's your go-to. So for me, this is kind of the little black dress deck. So it's not a hug deck. It's not like a slap in the, whatever they say, face deck or the smack on the tush deck. It's just reliable. I hope that makes sense. Okay. The second one that is probably my most used is the Osho Zen. I have a little cheat sheet. This is the deck I tend to use when I just need to know what the heck is going on. And in that case, I usually do a 3-card spread. What? Just tell me honestly what's happening. Just give me the straight facts. This is the deck I like for that. However, if we are looking at the deck that I literally used the most, because I did at least 3 dozen, if not more, 9-card spreads with this deck. This deck I made this little bag for. I actually made another little bag for it first, but then the deck expanded and it didn't fit in the first little bag. So I had to make a bigger bag. And it is, obviously, Mildred Payne Oracle. So, once again, I made a cheat sheet because I find this very convenient. I didn't necessarily use the keywords that came with the deck. A lot of times I just used the words that were making sense to me when I was doing my readings, whatever. So I keep this little cheat sheet folded up. And the type of reading that I've been doing with this has been a 9-card reading. And I used Kelly Fitz from Truth and Story. I use her 9-card method. I will put a link below, although I'm sure everyone can find Kelly's channel. But there seems to be some level of confusion about it. So where you would find the information on her 9-card readings is you go to any video on her channel at all. And then underneath the video, in that little box that's under the video, in all of them, Kelly has the link to her Dropbox account. So then you go onto her Dropbox account, look under the Lenormand folder, and then it is in there in the worksheets. The one I use is her 9-card reading, but I've changed it a little, kind of adapted it to the way I'm using the Mildred Payne. I do them as full-on divinatory cartomantic readings. I will go ahead and read what the cards say for the future. I will go ahead and read it for romance. I will do psychic snooping. I will read on health issues. Mildred has no moral standards, so she'll read on anything. The way I will do it is either I will use a significator or I will use not a non-significator, which I think is called the traditional method, where I like to keep these all going in the same direction, where you don't necessarily look for a significator, you just allow whatever card to come up to be the significator, and that's what the reading is on. In this case, I think I'm going to do a reading about, there's someone who has 2 jobs, and one is toward a career, and the other one is a part-time job, and let's say this person is thinking about, should I quit my part-time job, which I've been doing for many years, and I like, and it's fun, and I like the people I work with, but it's not in my career field. Should I quit that job so that I can focus more on my actual career and my studies towards that? Okay, so for this, because it's a work-related question, I am probably going to say, yeah, let's use the factory as the significator. So what I will then do is I will go through the deck. Oops, sorry for moving out of the way.
I keep looking at what I'm doing instead of looking at the screen on the phone. If this takes a long time, I'm going to fast forward. I guess we'll know. If it takes a long time, if you hear me speaking, like Minnie Mouse.
Oh, there's we've got, okay. So here we've got factory. So factory goes in the center. Then the cards that are behind here are going to go up here, and the cards that are after that are going to go here, okay? So then that goes there, 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 and there, okay? There we go. and then the cards after factory in the deck go after. If I'm doing them in reverse, where I don't look for the significator, but where I kind of do a split, and then I start working from there, I lay them down in a slightly different way. Kelly talks about this. And then when that happens, I will also lay down 2 cards. I'll lay down one from the bottom of the deck for what I don't know. That one goes up there. And then from the top of this one, I would also put up here as outcome. Then the way I read these cards is, first of all, this is this is kind of the focus, right? The main issue of the card. And one is going to be the motivation, or what I need to know about this. So this is wheel, which tells me a destiny, progress, or movement. So I'm thinking right away, just looking at this, it's probably going to be in this person's best interest to start making plans to move away from this job. Okay, so now I can read, this is past, this column is present, and this column is future. Does that make sense? So I'm looking at wheel, coin, and Saturn. Let me just look up what Saturn means. Ooh, male energy or authority. So in the past, this job was probably a very good way for this person, first of all, to earn some money. Second of all, to feel like, you know, a worker, like an adult, to step into their power and their ability to make money. And so this was a good job for them in the past. In the present, we have got the candle. So you see I cheat. The current career path is a good one. So again, this is looking at the career aspects of it. Might be something you want to stick with again. Okay. So for future, regarding, you know, do I stay in this part-time job? Does he stay in this part-time job, or does he leave? We've got fire, which is all consuming. Eye, which is something that you know, or that you see, something that you learn about, or that you see. And then tooth is something that needs to be, that is either lost or needs to be removed. So it might be a situation where the future for this job kind of looks like it either becomes all consuming and it takes up too much time, and he starts to see that and he needs to quit, so he removes himself. There is another, because I go ahead and do divination for this, there is another possibility, you know, that the building, you know, catches on fire and it's gone. You know, the building burns down, or the job burns out, or the person running the company where this part-time job is burns out and then stops doing it. So it's possible that this part-time job isn't even going to be very long lasting. But I do not put it past, I mean, I do go ahead and go with, it's also possible the place is going to burn down. So, because they're Mildred Payne and that's the way she rolls. All right, so past, present, future. Now, the next way I do this 9-card reading is, this is to Kelly, reading the corners to tell the story of basically the issue. You start at this corner, down to that corner, up to that corner, and down to that corner. So again, just reading very quickly, you know, we look at the wheel, that in order for kind of the future destiny, where the person wants to go to be fulfilled, this job is going to have to be removed or lost, so that all of the passion and the fire that this person has for their work can be in the one that is going to be their destiny, or stepping into their adulthood. So the job is going to have to go at some point, which is something that, you know, that we knew anyway. All right, now the next way that I read them are reading the cross around the center, which is from here to here, to there, and to there. So we're just reading the cross around the center like that. Again, check Kelly's notes for this information. And for this, I would be like, all right, if you really want to make some money, you probably need to be looking for some better job opportunities in your career field. So, you know, if you're studying to be an attorney and you're currently working in a pizza place, you know, you're gonna, if you want to make money, you got to start looking for something that's going to be in a law firm or something along those lines. So then the next thing I look at are what is underlying kind of the main issue here, and then what is overlying the main issue here. So underlying here, we're looking at the fish. This is good fortune, and it may be kind of a matter of choosing between, you know, good fortune, you're looking more at, this fish is looking more at stepping into the authority of the Saturn, and kind of has its back turned toward this tooth. So it might be time to, you know what you need to get rid of, know what you need to embrace, and that's going to be the way to the most success, is embracing your authority and getting rid of the things that you technically don't need anymore, like a baby tooth. You know, you don't need a baby tooth and it's time to pull it. Maybe this job has been a little bit like a baby tooth. It's comfortable, it's fun, it's a job the person has had since they were young, and maybe it's time, you know, for that tooth to come out. So overlying, you know, we see that this person has made consistent progress toward their destiny, toward their future plans, and we see that, you know, what was a spark of hope and has really a burning desire to do this adult job that the person wants to do, and potentially also that this person's, you know, hard work, consistent hard work at this part-time job is part of what gave them such a good, strong work ethic that is going to allow this future to manifest. Okay, so what we don't know is that there is some stabbing in the back going on. There is some hidden aggressions perhaps happening, betrayal. So, you know, it's entirely possible that the politics of this job might start to become difficult in some way. Or it might be simply a matter of you're your own worst enemy. You know, you're stabbing yourself in the back if you're going to continue to put your effort into this job that isn't really going to pay off for you in the long run. Okay? And then outcome is skull. So we can clearly see, in order to get, you know, that in order to get where we need to go, the destiny happens when you change, when you yank out that tooth. And you can even see in here, this skull has spaces instead of teeth because the teeth are pulled. You know, I might even think something along those lines. So that's the way I've been doing kind of relatively quick 9-card pulls for people. And it can be something as simple as, should I leave this job or not? What's going to happen during this project that I have to do? Or whatever. And it works really well. I mean, Mildred's absolutely brilliant. I find this an incredibly easy deck to read. Fun, lighthearted, but very accurate. Also, in spite of the images, it is mostly light as opposed to shadow. I know a lot of people have said they thought that there was too much shadow in here. I want to say Kelly Fitzgerald also looked at this and counted them and found that they were something like 2/3 of it was light, a portion of it was neutral, and then, you know, just a few cards were actually shadow. And that's my experience reading it as well. Most of the time we're not giving anyone a bad message, although in one case I did do a reading for someone and they got the ghoul and, is it the ghoul and the ghost? The ghoul and the devil, which is a woman. I wonder if she's here. There's the devil. There, the hag. Okay. So for I did do a reading for one person, and it was about a meeting, and I got like the hag and the devil. And the hag is, the way I read the hag is fears or weird events happening. So like a lot of weird, dumb stuff might be happening. And the way I read the devil is more along the lines of bondage, deceit. There's somebody who's lying or whatever. And so they were asking specifically about this massive event that was going on, and they were a part of organizing. And I'm like, a lot of stupid, weird stuff is probably going to happen, and people are going to be very, very annoying. So be prepared for that. And it's also possible that people are going to lie, or that you may come up against some people that are not working in your best interest. And in this case, what actually happened is they were holding this event at a hotel, and the hotel started having like lighting problems and air conditioning problems and other things like that. And when they talked to the people about getting it fixed, they were saying things like, well, it's not possible. The people who fix the air conditioners can't come in until Monday. And they were like making all these kinds of excuses and lies and things like that. Because they just wanted to push the people off and, you know, just get them to accept whatever was going on. And so they remembered this reading that I had done, and they were like, I don't think so. I think you can get somebody in here today. And of course, they could get somebody in today, for heaven's sake, to fix the air conditioning on a weekend at a big hotel. So even these two cards, they look scary. You know, they're not scary. They're just pay attention and notice. So anyhow, Yeah, that's okay. The deck that I used the most in 2017. I hope you enjoyed this. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any thoughts or questions about the video, please feel free to leave them below. If you have any comments, I would also love to hear those as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.